Thank you for viewing this YouTube archive of a Conscious Consumer Network broadcast. Please feel free to share it far and wide. Check out our weekly broadcast guide for weekly updates on scheduled broadcasts. Help keep us on the air by contributing to our network support fund. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter or get in touch via email. We thank you for supporting free and independent media.
Okay, welcome to my third radio broadcast here on CCN. Been having a lot of fun. Very excited to have the next guest you'll be getting to meet. Benny Wills, co-creator of Joy Camp, one of the most innovative, clever, and effective media tools created. Comedy is one of the most powerful weapons in our arsenal. And as George Carlin and Bill Hicks have proven, and many others, you can say something in comedy that you can't say in natural life. I was watching a clip just the other day with John Cleves, where he was saying how all comedy is critical, and it's so true. He's the what's the name of his show? His famous work.
Monty Python?
Monty Python, yeah. And it's so true because it always has been a means of getting a message across that couldn't be accepted any other way. Extremely effective, of which Benny is very aware, and he and Kevin have come up with an amazing format, and they have all kinds of new ideas, and I know they're going to go long ways in all kinds of directions. But I'm really proud to know Benny and these guys. It's been fun corresponding with them, and I'll be seeing you up in Portland, right?
Yeah. Can't wait.
Yeah,
I'm
there's an event. Yeah, there's an event called AV America, or Alternative View America, that Ian Crane's putting on, and the date is April
23rd, I think.
23rd, 24th, on avamerica.org. Anybody wants to take a look and maybe stop by and say hi, and that'd be really cool. Come attend the event, have some fun, and meet some really neat people. But I'll be asking you, Benny, a few things about your history so people can get to know you.
Yeah.
But we have a little video just to give a sample of what you do for those who aren't familiar with your work. I've been posting it for a long time and always get amazing responses. But let's roll that video, Mr. Biggs.
Oh, hey, Jim. Got a package for you.
Oh, do ya? Well, it was supposed to be here yesterday. My daughter's birthday was yesterday. Nice job, snail man. A-hole.
Hey there, little Sally. Beautiful day today, huh?
Amazon.com stepped into the future today with the launch of their first ever door-to-door drone delivery service. Could this be the end of your neighborhood mailman?
I love you, Zoe.
We've been watching you, Mel.
Who are you?
I'm an independent bookstore owner. Or at least I used to be. Together, we are publishers, grocers, cobblers. We're the anti-drone coalition against unmanned parcel delivery, otherwise known as Ad Africa. We've chosen you, Mel.
What do I have to do?
Eliminate the drones. We see that fear doesn't control you, but you control fear. Take out every drone in your path. They're everywhere. We will stand up against them strong, an army of one. I'm a person, I'm a human being!
I'm sorry, are you talking to me? I don't see anyone else in here.
No! It's a soliloquy.
Twinkle, twinkle, little drone.
Thanks for checking out that video. We hope you liked it. If you want to learn more about this video, it's actually a small part of a much bigger project. Check the description below.
And if you want to watch more Joy Camp videos, click right here. There's a bunch of them.
Remember, subscribe to Joy Camp and share with your friends.
And don't forget to subscribe, like he just said.
Yeah, no, subscribe.
And share.
And share.
Share and
watch more
subscribe.
videos. And subscribe.
Oh, okay. So that was Going Postal, one of the very clever skits that Joy Camps put together. So tell us how, give us a quick synopsis of how you started so people can understand how this was conceived, what motivated you,
You know,
how
what's,
you, yeah.
what's funny is that, so I'm at my parents' house right now, and I'm helping them clear out their garage. And I've been finding a lot of my old writing from when I was a teenager. And it's really nice because I could see that I've been this way for a very long time. Like I was writing about being anti-war and also anti-politics, which I think is really cool, when I was like 16 years old. So I've been this way, as far as I can tell, my whole life. I mean, this is just the kind of person I am, someone who just sees through the matrix, so to speak, you know, sees through the system. Never been able to understand things that are anti-life, you know, never really got my mind around you know, things like hatred and racism and suffering and inequality. So that's kind of who I am in general. I've always been drawn to alternative ideas. As a kid, when I learned who JFK was, of course, I immediately learned that there was a conspiracy tied into it, and I wanted to know about the conspiracy. So, I mean, this is just the kind of person I am. I've always been that kind of guy. But on who I am and what we do, I was born into a show business family, so performance was a big part of my life, and I grew up in LA, so I started acting very young, and my parents are both actors, so I grew up around actors and theater, and I started acting very young and doing plays, and I did it all the way through graduate school even, so I have a master's degree, a useless master's degree in acting. Sort of a very extensive performance background. And then Kevin, who is the other creator of Joy Camp, he started making movies with his friends when he was in high school, always playing around with the camera and creating stories and, you know, playing and editing things when he was in high school. And then we met in community college and then transferred to San Francisco State together and went to college there together. And at the same time, we both discovered, I guess, 9/11 information, because when 9/11 happened, there was no YouTube, so there was no immediate, you know, response from the internet. But I remember on that day feeling like something was wrong, like it didn't feel right. There was something wrong, and it was bothering me, especially the response, you know, being the anti-war hippie kid I was, seeing that we were immediately saying that it was an act of war on the day. I was like, this is wrong. There's something very wrong about this. And then, yeah, so we got to, so like 4 years later, finally some videos started coming out, and Kevin and I both gravitated towards them. I think that's when Loose Change came out. And then from there, I just became obsessed. Like I was like, this is what I've been waiting for. I've been waiting for this sort of information. And then discovered people like Alex Jones and David Icke, and just really started tumbling down the rabbit hole. Meanwhile, being a performer. And at a certain point, after about, I guess, like 8 or 9 years, Kevin and I were both very frustrated because we were experiencing this. We were going through a major download and, you know, major awakening, and not really knowing what to do with it. And we tried being activists. We really tried being, we went to like 9/11 Truth meetings, and we went out and, you know, held signs by the freeway, and we're trying to get people to, you know, passing out DVDs, and it didn't feel right for the kind of guys we were. I mean, we were like very easygoing guys, stoners, loved comedy. I mean, we've always loved comedy. We had the same sense of humor. But we weren't
Creators
really,
all heck.
but I didn't make the connection. I didn't think to like combine these two things that I love, performance and, search for truth. And then one day we made one video called Conspiracy Theorist PSA, and there was something about it that was very exciting. It was funny and it was fun to do, and it was like, oh my gosh, like this is the thing. This is the thing. This is how we can contribute. And at that time, I mean, maybe not now, but at the time, no one else was doing that. We decided to have fun with it, and then we then we realized immediately how important it was to do that kind of work, to make light of these otherwise horrifying situations, really scary stuff. I mean, the more you learn, the scarier it gets in a way. So we literally were shining light on things that were dark and helping to make people who are already awake feel a little easy, feel a little better, calm down, and also to bridge the gap between those people that we cannot communicate with. Because when people are laughing, they are more willing to listen. Their wall is broken down, and they're more receptive to the information. So we immediately discovered our own truth and our own path, and the rest is history. So we've been doing it now for 4 years, and it's been amazing. It's changed my life.
Wow, 4 years already. That's amazing.
Yeah, 4 years almost exactly. I think it was late January when we first filmed our first video.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real work of love that you're doing, and so many people are doing to get information out there. It's often a seemingly thankless job. We do it out of passion, and that's what I always say about us versus them. It's a job to them. These people are employed. We operate from the heart, out of passion. That's why we're such a threat to them.
Yeah.
And our commitment and our determination comes from the heart. But it's a labor of love that you perform, and it really shows. It comes through. It communicates, and that's the most empowering thing that anybody can pick up on. That vibrational frequency where the information is so dark, yet there's this empowerment that lies beyond it, and that's as you know, that's what I endeavor to do, is to get people help them get fully educated, but get past it to see the amazing potential that each of us is.
Right.
So that's why we do what we do, and that's why the time we're living in, as you're describing, is one of opportunities such as I don't think humanity's had before, between the contraposition of the insanity of these would-be controllers versus the awakening. It's this split that's happening is a chance for so many to wake up and get the picture, and get empowered and transcend it.
Yeah, and it's therapeutic for us too. It's doing work like this, being able, if you can allow yourself to see what's happening, see the bigger picture as ridiculous. I mean, it is ridiculous. Even if it is evil, it's ridiculously evil. Yeah. So being able to take back, like, this is too much for me. This is unreal how extreme some of this stuff is. So being able to laugh at it is really empowering, and it's so liberating too. Because then you start feeling like you can win, because it's so silly. Like, I can, come on, really, I can stand up to this. I can be strong against this.
That's right.
So
that's right. It's liberating. It's empowering. It's an indicator of our true self.
Yeah, and fear is the enemy, and they want us to be afraid. And so once we're not afraid, then that's a huge step towards healing. And that's what we need. We need to heal. It's all about healing.
It is, and empowerment. To me, that's a huge indicator of what I would consider a reliable source of information. If there's a sense of humor, what it indicates is that it's a frame of reference. It's operating above the morass of insanity, because it is a joke. I mean, just look at these.
It is a joke.
Idiotic lugs we see in the news. These cardboard cutouts like Obama. Are you kidding me? Yeah. The Orwellian newspeak, and which is that's where you got your name, right? Joy Camp from 1984.
Yes. From 1984. In 1984, Joy Camps are the forced labor camps. They're only referred to. They're not. There's no scenes there, but it's part of the. It's in the whatever the dictionary of terms that they use. Yeah.
Yeah, and your website, right, is the Joy Camp, so people can find it, right? That you had to put a "the" in front of it.
Well, yeah, because at the time, Joy Camp, just Joy Camp was taken, so it is thejoycamp.com to find our website. Yeah, everything is everything is like our email is thejoycamp@gmail, and yeah.
Okay, that's good for people to know. That's because you are the Joy Camp.
We are the Joy Camp. Well, the other Joy Camp I think is like some kind of Korean preschool or something.
Oh, interesting.
They got it first.
So you've got some upcoming interesting projects in the works. Besides, I sense you're going to be making more personal appearances, as you know, we've been talking about, because you've got so much to contribute. You've got energy. You're the next generation. I'm the old Woodstock generation. I'm getting younger as far as I'm concerned, but it sure doesn't show. But it's very exciting to me what's happening in the next your generation and even the younger generations of those who are awakening, the crystal clear clarity that they're manifesting of how they see, which is why, of course, we know they're trying to put out their lights with vaccines and pharmaceuticals, chemtrails, GMOs, all the rest. They can't win. That's why they have to keep doing it. That's why they have to keep spraying the skies, because it doesn't stay. The guys are they're mimickers, they're imitators, they're inorganic, non-creative force. So we really honestly do have nothing to fear, in spite of the fact that it looks like an apparent genocide underway. But people really need to stay above that darkness of that information, because although it is a real warfare we're in, it's a joyous one, ultimately.
Right. And the revolution will not be televised. So definitely the mainstream is not showing you just how massive this awakening is.
So what are you seeing in your generation and the upcoming generation? You mix with a lot of people.
I do.
You know a lot of cool folks. You know a lot of creative people. You know a lot of media people. What are you seeing in the people you're meeting?
Well, I'm getting a sense, a lot of things. I mean, I'm getting the sense that even people who aren't necessarily awake, who are still, I don't know, believing in politics, let's say, especially in a year like this. I mean, political years usually really bring out the ignorance and the fear in people. You know, there's some lot of momentum, and then they really get so afraid of, there's some people I know, Republicans taking over, that they get obsessed with politics, and they got to make sure that, the Republicans don't win. So they get a little distracted by that. But what I'm sensing amongst people is a desire for simplicity. That's what I get from my generation. Like I said, even if they're voting, if they're going to go vote for Hillary or Bernie Sanders, they still have this sense of everyone seems tired of the rules and tired of being controlled. And that's why I think these music festivals and these festivals are popping up more and more. Even if those people are not coming together to really find solutions and to figure out how to win this fight, they're having a draw to withdraw from the system. They want to break. They want to go to these places where they can express love and be with each other and trust each other and express themselves and feel free and not feel tied down to the society and the culture and or the lack of culture. And there's like a desire for simplification. People are really wanting to be together and wanting to not be so controlled by the system. They want to, I think people are realizing more and more how, material gain is not that important or at all. And there just seems to be like people wanting to people want to load off their backs. They want to go back to simpler times. That's what the pull feels like to me. And that's why, like I said, Burning Man and other festivals are so popular. People want to be with their tribe. They want to go back to the roots of, the simple things. That said, I'm also seeing the how nice people are everywhere. That's my other impression. I've been really lucky in the last, let's say 7 or 8 years. I've traveled a lot, and everywhere I go, people are nice. And people always give you a warning, like, well, be careful, like make sure you have your wallet on, be safe. But everyone's pretty nice. Not only that, I noticed that people are ready to be nice. Like people are waiting. They're just waiting for someone to come in and just, unlock their heart and like let that out. People are like bursting at the seams, but they just don't know how to express it yet. But they want to be. People are nice and they want to be nice. And that's a sense I've gotten everywhere I've been in the world. I mean, it seems to be this like everyone is, like I said, tired of being, squashed. People want to like feel free and feel good and feel safe and feel loved. You can feel it. It's almost tangible.
Yeah, I agree. I feel the same way. People are beautiful. People are, I mean, and a lot of it has to do with what you, I guess maybe you see what you are kind of a thing. We reflect what we're part of or something. But when you think about it, it's like Bill Hicks, he said, you watch the news and there's people getting killed here and this is going on there. He goes, I look out the window and all I hear is crickets.
Oh man.
It's I'm not seeing all this insanity like where I am. It's really nice. But it's true where I've lived before. I didn't see all this Nutsville stuff. You go out and talk to people, like you said, they're open. Everybody loves love, and like you said, people are wanting to come out now because they're tired of the bullshit. They're just like, let's just get together. My generation, what you're describing is really amazing because that's what happened to my generation. I went to university upstate New York and had my initial awakening thanks to psychedelics and a lot of studying mysticism and getting way out there. Right, it was a vibrational change like what's happening now. And we wanted to get back to the garden kind of thing. Remember, we wanted to go live in nature and dress normal or take our clothes off or, have free love. It was just get away. Do not have anything to do with your parents' lifestyle, which was reflected in the music, of course. And as we know, that revolution got co-opted pretty effectively.
It did, yeah.
But it's happening again. So what you're describing is a really beautiful thing to hear.
Yeah. Well, synchronicity, it's funny you mentioned that specific bit from Bill Hicks because I was just using that exact same example this morning talking to my mom when she was talking about MSNBC and watching the news. And I referenced that exact bit where he talks about, watching all the doom and gloom on TV, then turning it off and looking out your window and it's like birds chirping. And it's so it's funny that you say that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it is. People are, especially my generation, because my generation is the student loan debt generation. We're the ones who are not there's no jobs for us. So we're those dreams of being millionaires and having the fancy cars is we're not getting those kind of opportunities. We're so there's like a sense of, well, if we can't have that, what can we have? Well, I guess we can have each other and be together. That's what I'm getting because almost everybody I know is in student loan debt and no one's paying, which is awesome. But yeah, I mean, but then it's frustrating also because we are in a political year and I'm seeing a lot of my friends fall into this Bernie Sanders trap. Dare I say?
That's exactly what it is.
Trap. It's a trap. And it's based off fear because they're afraid of the other side winning and,
very clever.
So it can be very frustrating. So right now I'm a little frustrated with my peers and I'm figuring out, we're trying to figure out a good Bernie Sanders video for our channel actually. Because I don't know if he's necessarily a bad guy, but he's just doing, it's the same circus always, it's the same.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be really cool to expose the right-left paradigm insanity, this false choice that people don't realize it's either you're with us or you're with the terrorists, or either you're a Republican or a Democrat. Like, who the hell says that's the only choices I've got? Well, it's just the way it is. We have to accept it.
Look at their cabinet. How many CFR members do they have? That's how you know who's running the show. I mean, it's all the same.
Yeah. But to get caught up into a contest, like watching a horse race when, there's real things going on behind you. It's next to insane, but this is the age of distraction because of the very thing you're describing. People are waking up. They're sensing this change is going on, and it's erupting in their hearts. They don't know how to manifest it, but they're coming up with ways. That's what humanity does. That's what the human spirit's all about, that creative process, which
Right.
of course goes exactly with what you guys are doing. Like you're saying, you're able to use your creativity in a way that is really effective, where you really want to put your energy. And I feel the same way with my life. It's a culmination of having gone through a lot of stuff, like most of us, to arrive at a pretty damn unique time in history, being bombarded by all this pseudo-scientific insanity,
Yeah.
that really harms people. And that's a big thing that's affecting your generation, raised on all this electronics and tectronics and transhumanism and all.
Yeah.
But no matter what they try, as long as we keep exposing it and doing our best to put it out there where people can have the opportunity to make a rational, informed choice regarding what they're going to put into their bodies, what they're going to listen to. I'll keep doing this no matter what. Nothing's going to stop me. I do it 24/7. It's all that matters. I've got many kids and grandkids, and never mind that. There's the kids in Gaza. There's the kids in all over the world that are being affected. I mean, it's the only responsible thing is to respond to what's going on, which is what's called you in your heart since you were little, and me as well, and so many others. It's in the heart of everyone at some point,
Absolutely. Yeah. Definitely. My parents are both of the Woodstock generation too. And it's funny. I think my first moment of realizing that I was different in the way I saw the world was when I realized that I was in a minority, thinking that hippies were like the coolest kinds of people. I mean, I grew up sort of like idolizing hippies and thinking, wow, man, they are the coolest. And then when I found out that was not the most that was not necessarily what everybody thought, I was like, what? How? Well, hold on a second. How do you not see these people as being cool? And that was my first, like, well, maybe I'm different.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the younger generation, they do have it tough because they're so saturated with everything, with drugs and with especially like pharmaceutical drugs. They all have ADD. They all have ADD, ADHD. I mean, they can't focus in a classroom, and then they get, they'd rather be playing, and they're also eating food that's full of crap. And so they have a lot of obstacles themselves. But that being said, I mean, I worked at a middle school for 3 years when I first moved to LA, and I dealt with, that's a really tough age range. It's like 12 to 14 or so. And those kids knew what was up. I mean, they got it. They don't care about politics, and they were able to tell me about the Illuminati. And I thought, well, that's interesting. Like they're into that's become, it's mainstream, and they kind of have a sense of, what conspiracy is. And I don't know, there's a lot of bright kids. We get kids reaching out to us on our channel often and saying, thank you. Like I'm a junior in high school and I feel so alone. And I showed your videos to my teacher, and she loved it. Wow. And we just watched a Joy Camp video in class. I was like, that's amazing, So I think you can't keep it down. Like you said, you can't keep people down. We can, everything will be better eventually. It has to be. It's just like a rule, right? I mean, life goes like this, and we have to make sure that we have, those of us who have the call, we have a responsibility and a purpose, and we have to make sure we just keep guiding in that direction so that beautiful future can be.
Yeah, there's that really cool expression, nature bats last. It's even if the fact that we can conceive of these long-term concepts proves that we're, coming from a divine place, because we can talk about eons and millions of years and our environment the way we can. It is absolutely remarkable. But the Earth will continue to thrive. I mean, she is a living soul, a living organism, is much to be learned about. We're currently deep in John Lash's work, in Gnosticism, and I had a chance I met him 4 times while I was in Spain. Fascinating, man.
He's really fascinating. We'll listen to his interviews.
Yeah.
He's very interesting.
Yeah, he's a very deep guy, and we had some really cool discussions. I'm going to go back there this year. We're going to talk some more. But when you apply the Gnostic teachings, and by the way, his website is metahistory.org for anybody who wants to research it. I've been talking a lot about it lately because we've been discussing this and applying this archontic mindset understanding in new ways. That's been really, really fun, very empowering. But the Earth is a living being. I mean, you'll hear that from many teachings, many personal experiences, but she will thrive. She keeps giving. She keeps recreating. She keeps reprocessing. You can't put her lights out. That's insane. Even if we get hit by a meteor or something like that, I mean, she will survive. Life goes on. That's just the physical. And as we know spiritually, it's, I mean, it drives me nuts when Christians talk about, I'm going to live forever. Well, dude, you're already living forever. There's nothing to look forward to. It started a long time ago. In fact, forever ago. That we're in this, we're already there in so many ways. And that's, these are the realizations people are having a hard time with. But just that knowledge that Earth and the way nature survives and reprocesses and reinvents itself, kind of like George Carlin's skit, going back to humor, about plastic. You remember that one? I'm sure you do.
Yeah, styrofoam being the biggest threat.
It says, who knows? Maybe Earth created Earth created us to invent plastic because it wants plastic in it as part of its. So freaking clever. There's a man who's a master of language. I'm sure you appreciate.
Oh man, he may be my inspiration.
Yeah, he's remarkable.
He's amazing.
So what tell us about your project, this new endeavor and.
Sure. Yeah. Well, if anybody out there is or has followed us or pays attention to us, they may have noticed that 2015 was a rather slow year, seemingly, on our channel as far as content, and that's because we've been working on a very big project. In fact, the Going Postal, the video you just showed, is the opening sketch from I guess a pilot for a TV show that we have produced. So hopefully, now that it took us all year, I mean, we filmed it last January, and it took all the way until, I want to say July or August, maybe even later. Actually, no, it took all year. It took all year to edit it because we really had to keep whittling it down, and we were very precise in the timing of it. And so it took almost all the way to the fall to have a product. And we've been diving into the belly of the beast in Hollywood. I mean, we have as much as it kind of makes me feel weird, I'll be honest, we do have an agent. Yes. It all started because we had a producer who saw our stuff and was like, this is good. I want to put money behind this. So we produced the show, and now we're being shopped around. And, our goal is it would be amazing. We're exploring it. We're seeing what we can do. If we can find a place in the television world where we can have our voice, I mean, then we get to be doing what we do, on a much larger scale and introducing the work to a lot of people that haven't seen it yet. So we produced the show. We're shopping it around. We've already had a lot of meetings. The problem is the meetings we've been having, everybody loves the show. Everybody loves what we're doing, but the response we keep getting is it's too smart. It's too smart, which can be very frustrating because you can see it in their eyes. We've met with Comedy Central and MTV and IFC and NBC and all kinds of heavy hitters, and you can see it. Like in the beginning of the meeting, you can almost see that they're kind of just going through the motions. They're meeting us because they have the meeting and they're being kind, but then they see it, and you can see it in their eyes how impressed they are, and they say as much. I mean, impressed is the word that we keep getting, and then they say it's too smart, it's too smart for our audience. So that's very frustrating to us, but it's also promising because it is being acknowledged, and you know, what's also good for us and is that this sort of alternative way of looking at the world is becoming more popular than ever. You know, they're trying to stifle it, but I mean, the show Mr. Robot, I don't know if you've seen that.
No.
It's about a conspiracy theorist, essentially, and it's a really good show. And he tells it like it is, right there on TV. And it won Best Dramatic Show at the Golden Globes just last month. Wow. So the X-Files just came back, and I don't know if you've seen the X-Files, the new season, but I've seen
the trailer. Yeah, they're letting a lot out of the bag.
So people are capitalizing on conspiracy, which is great for us. And we're the only ones still doing it with comedy. But at the same time, I mean, if we strike out, if we don't get the show produced on television, then you know what? That's fine. That means it wasn't meant to be, and we'll find our own way. But that's what's been going on. So that's why we haven't had many videos. So we're hopefully going to be able to release the entire episode, the pilot, on our channel within the next few weeks, hopefully within the next month or so. And it's great. I mean, I think it's about 15 minutes long. It was 22 minutes, and we whittled it down to 15. And it's a great sort of sampler platter of what we do and what we can do and what we would intend to do with a TV show. So that's what's coming up. Also, we have other videos that we've been working on. We have a video taking on the flat Earth coming out hopefully this week, which ought to be interesting. I'm looking forward to the reaction to that one.
That's a hot potato.
And the other thing, this is also interesting. Through one of the meetings we had, they loved what we did. They loved what we did, and they really want to work with us on creating something else. They said, "We love what you do, but it's too smart for our audience. We want to target 16 to 25-year-olds." So we've been brainstorming on an idea for a show that would be not as on the nose as what we do with Joy Camp, but possibly more marketable. And we're actually really excited about the idea we have. I can't really talk about it yet, but
that's okay.
We're going back into a follow-up meeting with these people to have a second meeting. And then we'd have this as our job, which would be amazing to produce a show that, you know, because I can't write anything that is not imbued with, you know, intelligence.
Oh, exactly.
So we might have certain opportunities. We're going.
Good for you. That's really cool. I mean, let's face it. That's one of the frustrations a lot of people are feeling in the alternative community. We're preaching to the choir. The same people are recycling information. We've got to broaden the audience. We've got to reach a larger swath of humanity that's not getting the information. But the fact that they're drawing it out of you, or it's coming out in the media now, shows that they're very aware of it. There's a massive amount of people going to alternative media. People really need to take heart about that. I think we're never going to get satisfaction from this media blockade of the effect we're having. So unfortunately, people still look to that for some kind of validation. Not necessary. The validation's right here in your heart, and just learn to read the indicators, like what you're experiencing. That these people, you know, they're blown away by it because they know it's on the money, but they have, you know, it's an arrogant attitude to say that, well, people aren't smart enough for this information. Well, the reason they're dumb is they're not getting the information, obviously. But okay, they're marketers, and I've got a son-in-law who worked for MTV producing for years. And, you know, you're inside of this sort of mill that makes its own directions. Obviously, there's big guys with cigars, you know, calling shots and, you know, trying to pull the strings. But when something alive as you guys show up and they catch it, they catch that livingness, that spark. I mean, but even if you have to, I'm just talking off the top of my head, but even if you have to adapt a little bit, it's almost like people who write novels about 9/11 and disguise the facts in the novel in order to get a greater readership,
right,
and reach more people. And then when they read it, all of a sudden, you know, their curiosity is stirred up, and they start researching. So it's very effective at certain places. And I've felt this way for a long time. I know Max and I talk about this a lot, how to reach a wider audience. And let's face it, we have to be willing to adapt, morph. If we really love people and are trying to reach this planet on which we are stationed,
right,
we have to deal with certain realities and not be so ignorant or self-righteous as to think, well, if they don't get it, they can go to hell. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So that's very exciting. I'll be following closely what happens.
Yeah, I'll keep you posted every step of the way. But yeah, you're right. It is adaptability and it's communication. And if that's what we did with Joy Camp anyway. Because 10 years ago, when I was first really, really going down all the rabbit holes and really, going through my massive download, I was getting in so many fights with people and arguing. Because to me, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the most important information I've ever learned. I have, everybody needs to know it. So then when I was in that state, that's how I was relaying it to people, and they would just shut off. They would just shut off and put up a wall, and then I'd be yelling, and we'd be arguing with each other. And we'd get very heated, and I wouldn't get anywhere. I would just get winded. And then, if anything, I was turning them off the information. They wouldn't ever look at it. So I was like, okay, what's the better way to approach this? And that was where Joy Camp came along, because like I said, we tried being activists, which is very in your face. It wasn't working. So we're like, okay, what's the more subtle approach? And it, is through comedy and not being that preachy, and hopefully also, sort of serving an idea up on a platter and saying, hey, this is a topic that you may or may not know about or may not care about, but here it is. And, this is us shining light on it. Now it's up to you to do your own research and come to your own conclusions, because we definitely don't try to get preachy with our content. You can see where we stand, obviously, but we're not teaching you how to think.
Yeah, it's sensible. It's sensitive. It's really taking the other person into consideration. It's a big mistake people make when they first wake up. We've all done it. We get too carried away. We blow people away instead of helping them. So it's a learning curve, but it's a good one. That's also a good process. It's funny you're talking about how to serve it up. Here in Uruguay, where I live, Uruguay is the way it's properly said. They everything's meat. I don't eat meat, and meat and bread and soda pop. They serve it in wine glasses. They drink it like more than water. Wow. It's really sad. They're so GMO'd out, and the crap that the U.S. has done a monstrous job of polluting the rest of the world, and they all look up to it for the example that it's the land of freedom. So
freedom.
Anyway, that's about to be recycled, as you know. But what they'll do with the meal is they'll put a fried egg on top. It's anything that has a fried egg on it looks like a full meal. It's kind of like what we're talking about in serving up truth. We can decorate it, garnish it a little bit, and make it look like something they're used to. But really, when they get down to the meat and potatoes, it's going to be a little more nourishing than they're used to, and it's a fun thing. It's guerrilla warfare, really. It's a form of informational. It's a little surreptitious, I guess, but it is. We've got to come up with ways to reach more people and more effectively, and have the humility and the willingness to, like you said, to adapt. And anyway, but let's see where it goes. But this whole principle, I really like it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Everyone's got an itch. You just got to figure out, how to scratch it. Everyone feels like they're getting screwed by the system in some way, and then it's almost like you almost have to be like a ninja and figure out how to navigate and get them to understand.
Exactly.
To this itch, which is connected to an overall itch or a root, if you will. That's you can't put band-aids on the branches. You got to go after the root. And so that's kind of like what we do with Joy Camp, but also what I do in my personal life. Like my way of communicating ideas to people has become much more efficient, and it becomes. It's almost like I trick people into learning something, and they don't even give me credit for it, because I set it up in a way like they'll have an idea, question about something, and then I'll just ask them more questions, or say, well, about this, well, about this, and then sort of subtly get them to understand, so that they go and do it on their own, and they come back to me and they're like, oh my God, guess what I learned? I'm like, yeah, good. I'm glad you learned it. But
good job.
Yeah, but you kind of have to. It's all it's give and take. It's like a dance, and asking them questions, I find, is the best way to get them to think, because they don't want you to. It's weird. People don't want you to teach them anything. Almost, it's like an ego thing. They don't want you to. They identify with their opinion, and they don't want you to be the one that contradicts
That's
it
right.
or something else. So they have to do it on their own always.
That's right. They consider it a contest. But what you're saying is very profound. There's a famous quote. I'm sure you've heard it. I don't know if it was Socrates or Heraclitus or somebody, but they said, the sign of a great teacher is the student comes away thinking that it was their idea. And
Exactly.
it's very profound. It's egoless, but I mean, you want to talk about the future? The future is egoless. If you want to go on a time frame, that's where we really meet. That's the place where we really communicate. And it's an illusion, and it gets reinforced by all the crap. That's where this right-left paradigm stuff is really dangerous, because anything that brings that out, like the anger games, I call them, the way they're trying to get everybody hyped up, divide and conquer, the same old shit. But we need to see it in a more transcendent understanding of how this is getting triggered, and like you're saying, how not to trigger it in other people. And it's the ultimate form of love, I think, is to really, look at a mother, and is she asking the baby for the credit for caring for it? Absolutely selflessly. How much are you loving me, kid? No, it's a giving without conditions. Yeah. And that's the deepest form of love. And we're all learning that. We're learning how to release it, but also to be able to learn that it's there for us. It's there for us to tap into, and it's nothing to be afraid of. Letting the past peel away, the old personality peel away. It's interesting when you were talking about when you were growing up and you knew things were different, you knew you were different, and you had this sense. And I've been learning a lot about this whole concept of codependency in society and relationships. I mean, every song you hear in the radio is codependency. I'll be watching you, the stalker song. Yeah. all the weirdness and this clammy relationship misconception that has been foisted on humanity, and satisfy me and I'll satisfy you, and just really wrong stuff. It's well worth full-on research. There's great stuff on it. But it stems from when we were very little. We were born conscious creatures, and we were not addressed as such. So what happens is we're born with a sense of abandonment right from the get-go, no matter who our parents were, no matter how well-intentioned. And they learned it from their parents. And we spend the rest of our life trying to get this approval through this absolutely screwed up social system. This is just social system, 12.4 or 12.0. Societies, all these manufactured, multi-tiered BS systems. But when we get back in touch with who we essentially are, it is so liberating. It is so love yourself, and deal with personal issues. This is part of the psychonauts travel, is to know that there is a dark side in all of us, but it's nothing to fear. It's part of the makeup, and it's something to be understood and addressed, and it translates in our interaction with the outside world. But when you were telling your story, it really struck me how, so many people that I've spoken with, such as yourself, very, very awake, very conscious, very driven to do what's right, had this early calling in their lives. And I think most people get it. It just got squelched in different ways. And this is where the real sadness comes, where people got so injured that it looks irreparable, but it's not. It doesn't matter what we've been through. I've been through a lot of stuff in my life. It wasn't by some kind of charmed existence, but thankfully I had a motor like you and kept going, and that's available for anybody.
That's true. And it's definitely been something I've been thinking about a lot the last few years, is how important it is to, I think, sort of acknowledge that shadow part of ourselves and deal with it. I mean, one of the things that if there's something, and if there's an imbalance in my body, I can feel it. I can feel if there's something I'm not dealing with, and I will always deal with it. If I'm feeling like anxious about something or scared or sad, I don't just put it away. I'm like, okay, we're going to deal with this. And I usually go into like a meditative state, or into a meditation, and just like really focus in on it and grapple with it and deal with it and make sure I, constantly, in a way, purging whatever it is that's afflicting me and not bearing it down. I mean, we tend to just get injured and then not heal. It just layer after layer grows on top of it. And then you get into a very tight, scared, mean mess, self-hate. And
yeah. I like it. It's a Velcro, the hooks and loops of Velcro. You got the ego, the hooks or hoops, and you got this information that's not healthy coming at us. It's only going to stick as long as we allow the stuff to stick to us. And like you said, you get layers of it if we don't let go of the attachment to it. And I mean, it could be understood in a lot of hyper psychological terms, but basically it's letting go and like you said, dealing with things as they come up, starting to identify the source, not only of the external information that's causing us confusion, but the internal attachment to it. Why do we want to hear this? Why do we like getting angry or bitter or whatever? Not to get super hyper analytical, but and what happens obviously in society is stuff sticks, like these Velcro sticky balls, like they come out of the TV and bam, bam, bam. You can't see reality anymore. All you see is sticky balls, and they're very attractive. That's your new universe. And when you start peeling that stuff away, which truth and love and all these wonderful vibrational changes are doing, whether we like it or not, then it gets really interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is an exciting time. And in our how do I say it? People that are like us, who are already like actively looking into this stuff, one of the things that really I feel like has to stop is the paranoia amongst the community, the shill calling. I'm sure that someone listening to this could hear that I'm saying, we're putting a show, they're trying to get produced by someone like Comedy Central, and they're going to think, oh, well, he's, he's a shill.
Right.
Once the show gets on television, then it's not going to have any integrity. And it's not the case. We have, just because someone is successful, what they're doing does not mean that they are working for the government. And I think that that's really important, because I feel like, especially, there's something really significant about the Flat Earth movement at the moment. And that's something that I've been casually paying attention to for the past year and a half, because it's really fascinating to me.
It is
very fascinating, and they bring up a lot of very interesting points. But there's a tendency to call anybody who doesn't automatically 100% commit to the idea that the Earth is flat, that they're somehow a double agent or Quintel Pro or just a shill, and that's really got to stop. I mean, it's not healthy. I mean, I think that there is a lot of interesting aspects of the Flat Earth information, but I'm not completely sold. And just because I'm not completely sold doesn't mean I'm a shill. I definitely don't believe a word that comes out of NASA's mouth, but I don't have a rocket. I can't take it up into space and see for myself. But it's really important that I feel like now more than ever, we need to come together, and this community needs to stand together and not because then we're no worse than the people who are, yelling at the Republicans or yelling at the Democrats. We're divided, and we have to be together. And the shill calling, we get called shills all the time. In Joy Camp, we get all the time. We get called Zionists, Quintel Pro. People say, well, look at the quality of their videos. They're obviously paid being funded by somebody. And we're like, no, we're just good. We don't have any money. Yeah. We don't have. If we were shills for the government, we'd have more than 16,000 subscribers. It's so people just need to relax with the paranoia and accept that some people are pretty good at what they do, and they're pretty good at getting stuff out there, and they have integrity regardless of even if they don't exactly see eye to eye about everything. Exactly. The idea of unity. I mean, unity has been overused by this sort of an NWO cult of like sustainable and all this other BS terms that they use to just sort of put people's critical thinking to sleep. But it really is important right now. And we hear something really interesting about the flat Earth stuff, because I've been fascinated by it too. There's obviously compelling evidence for all kinds of amazing stuff and great research coming out.
But like you, I've seen this thing arising and the strife, and now people are calling the flat Earth movement a psyop because of the division that certain people are falling into or fomenting. But you know what's interesting is, in the light of what I've been studying a lot lately, that because ultimately the flat Earth theory gets down to this idea of the creator God, and we are the center of the universe, and which is fine in a certain aspect. That's I believe that. I know that to be true. We're a creation. We're attached to this universal source, and we're all collective consciousness and all that. But what's leaking in is a very archontic mindset, and I'm thinking the archons are playing it because it's a perfect way for it to manifest what it does, and this is very archontic that people start to think about. There's a God, there's a higher authority. If it hardens, it's like a sort of a hardening of the arteries when people get into when God becomes a being, or some sort of the amorphous becomes more tangible or identifiable. This is where religion came from. This is where salvationism came from. This is where all our problems came from. There's this hierarchy, and as we know, according to the Gnostic teachings, this so-called God of the originated in the so-called Middle East or whenever, is one nasty dude. This is a psychotic fellow who's forced people into subservience and set up the hierarchy. And you can see that through history in all kinds of ways. I'm not like a full-on convert to Gnosticism, but anybody who studies it, you'll see how it fits in with so many different types of teachings, and you'll find the derivations of the Bible story. But I know you're well aware of the power of religion and religious teaching, and the hierarchy is massive. It's totally screwed up humanity. But anyway, it's interesting, that this is an archontic manifestation, because it's appealing to that old entrained mindset which our race has gone through for millennia, of having some sort of allegiance to a higher power, as sort of a being figure. And this is where the problems stem from. And I'll get a lot of flack for that. We put up a quote. If you go to my website today, there's a quote that we put up about the insane God. We're already getting flack for it, but it's really good because it's the kind of thing that challenges this wrong mindset. And the whole idea of the archons is it's a brain parasite. It's a mind parasite, and very interesting concept, very applicable. You can just run it through your processor. As I tell people, don't get stuck on anything. Just run it through your processor.
Yeah.
Screw like you said, people fighting over stupid little things. That's falling for this sort of archontic mindset. So anyway, interesting thought about the flat Earth fights coming from the archons going, hey, we got something here. We can really foment some division.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, because I've actually been studying the flat Earth stuff pretty extensively. I mean, Eric Dubé, who I guess is sort of like the guy. He's sort of the reason, or I don't say the reason, but he kind of the one who brought it back, and he's sort of like the base of it in a way. He's a friend of mine. I like Eric a lot. We've been communicating for 3 or 4 years. So I've been studying this for the past year, and it is very compelling. But there's something about what's happening now with the reaction.
Yes,
it's the draw. There's like a line being drawn, and that's scary to me. Just because someone's not completely sold. And then when I see, then also just the disregarding of all science altogether, because NASA's science isn't necessarily always real. I mean, I think NASA is like George Carlin said, they're NASSholes. I don't believe anything from NASA. But you can't throw out all science because you don't like NASA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't just throw out everything that science has given us. I mean, science has given us this conversation, essentially, right?
Yeah.
But also when I see like Neil deGrasse Tyson going on Daily Show and completely slamming it, it reminds me a little bit of what happened after Sandy Hook, and everyone was crying out about crisis actors. And granted, I'm of the belief that that they're pretty accurate. I don't think that those people, at least the parents that we saw on TV, were real parents. They were not very sad about their kids being dead, gunned down brutally. They weren't that. But that being said, people were so adamant about it. It was kind of like going back to what we were saying earlier about the not knowing how to communicate, like yelling about it, like this, don't you see, these are actors. But when you say that, when you're saying these parents of dead children are actors to the mainstream people who are watching the news, they're going to seem crazy. So it creates more distance between the people from us and the people who are watching the news, the sheeple or whatever you want to call them, whatever derogatory term that you could use, or whatever. I don't like using those terms, but you know what I mean. Same thing is happening now with flat Earth. So the flat earther idea is being lumped into that, crazy. This flat earther over here. When you have Neil deGrasse Tyson going on TV and defending it, I'm like, ooh, this is actually making NASA look better, and that we don't want that. This is not good. So it's breaking into the mainstream in not a good way. So that, I don't know. In a way, it kind of shows that they're. Because at first I was like, well, this is good because they're really scared and they're going on TV and they're having to defend it. Then I started thinking, well, this might be giving more power back to NASA, because it's showing the mainstream how ridiculous the flat earth stuff seems, because the flat earth people are being so like, it's this or nothing, And I don't know, I'm just reminded of Sandy Hook and the Crisis Actor, which seemed like it really backfired.
Yeah, it's funny. And Neil deGrasse Tyson, he goes on TV and says the earth is pear-shaped.
Yeah, I know. And you look at the image of NASA, and there's a perfect circle. The earth is a perfect circle.
Yeah. But the inconsistencies, the lack of logic, the lack of intellectual integrity of these people is mind-boggling. And the way they play on people's ignorance it's infuriating.
Honestly, I hope it's true. I hope the Earth is flat. I hope it's true, because it's really. If it is, it's awesome. Like I love all of it. I love that. The idea of being, it's very narcissistic. I love the idea of being the center of the universe, and it's all here for us, and we are made in God's image. I hope it's true. Like, come on, it's beautiful. That's so beautiful. I really want it to be true, but I can't. I can't commit 100% because I don't know.
Well, the thing is, when you transcend all that, it already, ultimately is true. I mean, we are, born of the infinite. We are the infinite. We are in connectivity. These are fundamental truths that are already there. How they manifest in the physical, I mean, you've heard this, that it doesn't really matter that much when we know this whole projection is holographic. You put on one pair of glasses and you see it flat, and you take them off and you see it round. But either way, it's a projection of an external reality in which we have to operate, and, and all the distraction factors. But it is a very interesting phenomenon. And for me, we've been talking about it quite a bit, to run it through this filter of the archontic mindset. It really is very, very interesting how easily, how reflexive the mind is. Because ultimately, and this is why I put up a lot of Krishnamurti stuff and Alan Watts on my site, because the mind is a terrible master, and it's an okay servant, because the mind is really one of the issues that's really screwing us up. It's like the windshield on the car that catches the bugs. You have to really watch out for it. And it's this world and this art. If you think about the archontic idea, I mean, if you just look at history, they're smarter than we are. They on that plane. We can't win on their playing field. We have to move it to another level. So when people fall into that lower level thinking, they're going to get into right-left paradigms, and they're going to get pulled into anger. They're going to get jerked around, distracted, waste their time, run through life, endlessly on the treadmill, stuck in stupid loans, like you were saying. That's what we have to escape. We're not going to play on their little Monopoly board anymore.
Yeah.
We do a Dylan song for that. Not going to play on Maggie's board no more. What are you going to say?
We have a video on our channel called Archons. We made it about
Oh, that's right. I've seen it.
Yeah. We made it on a whim. Tony and I, the guy from Joy Camp, we made it. Yeah.
But it's a method of digesting information. All of these things are. These are vectors of understanding, none of which we need to get hung up on. But ultimately, when we find what resonates, then we grow. And it's like feeding a plant. We're not sure what it is, but just get it the nutrients, let it grow. Don't get hung up on stuff. find what resonates.
That's the thing.
You're saying the flat earth stuff is great because I like it because it helps people step back and question everything. I think you've got a quote on your was it on your Skype channel, or maybe it's in that new that long video that you have on the site about someone else produced. You said something like information is the answer, but what was the question? The guy introduces the show. What was the question again? No, it says something is the answer, but what was the question? I love that. I love that kind of thinking because it really is not the answer. It's in the question. It's always in the question. How are we processing? How are we looking at things and challenging the
That's the thing. I guess I've gotten really good at absorbing information neutrally, so that I don't really get that, I don't know, emotionally invested in an idea. So I gotta be honest, I love the flat earth stuff. I have a Google Doc with so many links and like thoughts about it and descriptions because I watch probably at least one flat earth video a day just because I think it's so fascinating. So don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm very much interested in this idea, but I see it also. I see it. Like I said, I have a neutral way of dealing with it. I'm like, wow, this is really fun, interesting. Very well could be true, and I like that about it. But I think it's also dangerous to get so firm about this is the way it is. And you don't believe it, you're just a baller, or you're a shill. Look at all these shills out there. That's not helping anything.
No, it's not. And like you said, it's that like paranoia is natural and very healthy, I think, a normal paranoia because they are after us. but when it gets to the point that, like you're describing, we get defensive about a sort of, call it a belief system. And no matter how powerful your realization, as we've been talking about, it's interesting, this falls into that context. No matter how powerful your knowledge, your realization, how you present it to others is the manifestation of how well you really got the point. Do you do it in a way to help the other person come to a greater understanding, or just to assert your own self-righteous, ego-filled, even if it's not that dark, it's just, it's a reflex everybody has from ego and all that. But and that's where this gets dangerous, and it's turning off a lot of people. It's causing a lot of strife, a lot of name calling. I don't like it. So I dip in and out of it. I love the scientific research. I've got a very scientific mind. I love the stuff. I mean, certain things that absolutely are don't make any sense on a so-called, at least the curvature of the size of the ball, the spinning, all the insanity. Like, come on, people, come on.
Trusting NASA. I don't trust. Not trust.
No, but it's all these ideas they're so archaic. But what the alternative is, we don't know. Whether it's like the ancient symbols of the back of a tortoise with 5 elephants holding up a dish.
I like that. I like
it's very cool.
Of the tortoise.
Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah. But whichever, I mean, it's sort of another earthquake in the alternative field, I guess, to shake people up. It's like when you're trying to get stuff through a sieve, you got to keep shaking it, and so the stuff keeps coming through. But it's very, very interesting.
It's important. It's so important to stay focused on, the goal here, which is making sure we protect our freedom so we can continue to explore ideas like that. If we don't, I don't want to say win the fight because I think there's a better way to term it, but in essence, win the fight, then we're not going to have the opportunity. We're not going to have the freedom to explore stuff like that, ideas like that. And chances are, if we do, if the psychopaths who are in control, if once we get them out of there, then all these secrets will be revealed. It's not. I don't think that these mysteries aren't really mysteries. They're just being kept from us. They're already out there, but we have to, make sure that we stay diligent and, get them back. Let's get them back. Let's settle the debate, and we can settle the debate when we regain the power.
Yeah, but to be honest, I don't think in those terms anymore, because it's almost like expecting, it's almost like thinking in terms of the current paradigm to come to its senses. The paradigm's got to collapse, and we're going to see everything completely differently, But I know what you're saying. I agree with it essentially, but it's like people expecting the truth to come out of the media. It's like the mainstream media. They're being forced to acknowledge it, which is one of the things we're discussing, which is really cool, because you see it coming through the woodwork, but they have to co-opt it and move it to their advantage and this kind of stuff. But they're on the defensive, as far as I can see, when it comes to that. Because look, if truth is leaking through their like, I've got brick walls here. You see it leaking through the wall, kind of a thing, and they're trying to patch it up. Something really heavy is going on. There's a massive vibrational change that's causing things. Like they say, when Seattle gets the big one, it's going to liquefy, and much of the city is going to drop straight down. It's like that. This vibrational thing that's going on, whatever it is liquefying the matrix. It is causing a seepage, and things are coming out. And I think there's a lot to be encouraged about, a lot to look for in that respect, while at the same time, like you said, keep applying the pressure, keep working really hard to get the message out, and find our openings, use more wisdom, like you said, use the kung fu ninja operation. It's like that. It's fun, isn't it? Because and the fact that we're identifying that and learning these sort of things shows the spiritual evolution we're going through, which is, that's just thrilling in itself,
They can't stop it. And that's something that you and I talked about like last week in our conversation.
Yeah.
Is that, and we talked about earlier in the show, that if time is eternal, as far as I can tell, time is eternal. Our lives are that long. So it's hard to think outside of our own lives, hard to get that time span, but it's so quick, and this will change. Like this, people, one of the interferences I encounter with people is they cannot see a world without the system. They really just can't imagine, a world without money and the way it's built, but that's only because they can't see outside of their own existence, right? Their own immediate existence. Yeah. But there will be a time, because time is eternal, that all of this is gone. And then it's going to be, in one sense, it's very soon, it will, this is not, things are not always going to be this way. So there is a vibration. There is this sort of, it's palpable. You can feel it all around you. There's people waking up all the time. Every time there's a false flag terror attack, people are waking up. Every time that happens, it's duality that's causing more people to go, wait a second. Okay. You lost me with that one. And so this is unstoppable. No matter what they do, it's unstoppable. It will change. We are already heading in that direction.
It's and how we perceive it has everything to do with how things are. That's why, like you said about the early, this so-called hidden knowledge, the secret teachings of the mystery schools were open teachings back in the days of Hypatia, and the people went to learn from these amazing enlightened people, and it was available, and kids were raised differently. It wasn't, I'm sure there was issues, maybe I lived back then, I don't remember, but it was open knowledge, and then these guys sequestered it and used it for a power trip. Mm-hmm. But the fact is, it's there. It's already here. What you're describing too about this timeless awareness, and the whole idea of that now is what we've got. Now is all we have, and now is all that matters. To me, indicates that all of this is accessible now for anyone and can be manifested. And I think as people catch on to these seemingly esoteric or metaphysical notions, they're not. They're very practical. And as they do, they go, oh, this doesn't have to be this way. Habits change. People get rid of junk in their lives. Relationships change. Like if we allow these things to influence us individually and collectively, while we're having these creative endeavors, we're having to try to have the effect on society we feel called to have. As people go through this process, I think we're going to see amazing stuff. I mean, I think it's already there. I think a lot of it, we're learning to identify these changes in people, like you're seeing in your generation and younger, and it's in the way people are seeing outside. Because I experience that. I hear that from other people, close friends. Like, people are beautiful. What are they talking about? You know, I mean, I love exchanging with people here or when I'm traveling. People are just cool. You just, you engage them and they're engaging. Everybody loves love. Everybody has a joy in their heart. Okay, there's suffering of all sorts, just like any organism. But heck, this is a pretty damn cool place.
Pretty friendly for the most part. People are pretty friendly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Evil is much more of an anomaly than we're led to believe.
Yes.
It makes sense because the people who rise to power are the only ones evil enough to want to accept that kind of responsibility. A friendly person doesn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to dictate other people's lives. Only someone who is, insane would want to be like, I want to make the rules and control everybody. So naturally, when you have that person running the show, it's going to reverberate and seem like that person's attitude is much more, in the people, but it's not. People are friendly.
Or like, here's all these naive people just loving each other, and let's just take advantage of them, shall we? We can make money off this. We could suck on their energy. Come on, Henry. Come on, David.
Let's get them to believe that there's actually this thing called currency when there's no such thing. That's about a belief system. Yikes.
And they've run, look at the programs they've run. The list goes on and on and on of stuff they've foisted on humanity. But, we know it can't stand. It's going to collapse. Unfortunately, people will suffer, and especially those who aren't prepared. Yeah. But hopefully,
it's a necessary evil, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I say, bring it on. If this is what it takes to wake people up, like you were saying about people you meet who even the kids are saying, look, I got this stupid debt. I've got this, you know what? I'm enticed to buy this, that, and this. I know it doesn't satisfy, and they're just looking for an alternative, and they're going to events, finding, meaningful expressions. That's where you again come in with your amazing talent, and I think it's going to go a long ways. But people are hungry for that, and it's I lost my track there, but this is where creativity leads in satisfying this hunger for the change that people are sensing they need. They're feeling this. We want to get back to the basics. We want to get back to living simply. Let's just love each other. And I know my generation got wiped out financially in the 2000s. I think I was in the Bay Area right around the time of the tech bubble crash. Yeah. And I remember I went to some guy's door to ask something, and he said, "Hey, big fancy house somewhere in Northern California." And he said, "Hey, we're broke." His house was empty, no furniture, no money. Obviously, he was used to living a high-class life. He got wiped out. And the reality of it just went bong. And, because the illusion is so much wealth in America and all this kind of stuff. But it's, it's an empty shell. But our generation, and, it bleeds into your generation. I mean, my son got wiped out. He lost his home he built in Maui when the crash happened in around 2006-07. We had a bunch of investments. We were trying to set up a foundation and some kind of a residual income, so we could sort of, getting older, we got kids and grandkids, so there's some kind of so-called security for the future. Completely wiped out. Best thing that ever happened. And this is what's happened. People are losing it all, and they're going, wow, I am happy as a clam now. I can go where I want to go. I don't care about my next meal. I mean, they obviously try to be practical, but you go, hey, life is pretty cool. My goodness, was I tripped off or what? I was on the treadmill. I had no idea. I could never get that carrot. And that this is a good thing. So it's backfiring. That's the whole thing is backfiring. 9/11 backfired. The Matrix is backfiring. The financial system is backfiring. there's going to be some suffering, and but it's going to be for good. Because bring it on.
Suffering is mainly going to come because we are detached from knowing really how to live. But we'll relearn. I mean, that's why people are afraid of the apocalypse, because they don't know how to live with the land. They don't know how to be with the cycles, and they're not near water, and everyone's sort of like crammed into cities. So that is a dangerous situation in the immediate sense, but it's a necessary evil. And if people aren't willing to wake themselves up, then they will suffer. But it is all good in the long run. I mean, because there is that. It has to heal itself. It's like, it's law. Like things cannot stay this way. Like you said, the earth is a living being. There's too much goodness in the heart of mankind. This will correct itself, and we feel it. You feel it. Just as the system is also like clamping down on us, this awakening is, breaking free of it. So it's simultaneous, and it is a showdown, and the good will win. It must. It is a law. This is beautiful.
Wah, wah, wah.
It is, yeah. Neck and neck. Yeah.
We're coming for you. Yeah. It's totally cool. It's it won't be easy, but anything worth anything costs something, and in a good way. But like you're saying, people have lost touch with the way that they should be living, but they're also they're detached from that, but they're attached to the way they have been living, and that's habit, entrained sensory perception. And I mean, it's going to be stuff to overcome. It'll take time. For me, I'm always, kind of in a hurry to see things change faster and that kind of thing. But I'm learning that, it will take time, of course. I mean, duh. But it's to have a really deep sense of patience about the transition. And but again, like I keep saying, to be aware of the beautiful confirmations we're getting of what's going on, and also some of the principles that are being enacted. Like when you're going to these people and offering your show and giving them a chance to see your genius, and they go, wow, but well, it's too much for my audience or whatever. They're thinking about it, but there's also this thing called accountability. And I think there's something really heavy karmically, or whatever you want to call it, about when people are offered the truth and to make a decision one way or the other, which way they go is a little click down the, like the pinball machine. Ding, ding. It precipitates change. And somebody, the guy may go home that night and tell his wife, and then she says, oh, you need to do something about that. Why are you such a stick in the mud? Well, I can't because the producer, or whatever they went through. But it precipitates a change at home. That kind of manifestation on the surface, but the deep stuff is he's got to deal with his conscience. And you're offering it to these people at that level. Things happen. It's like, that's why putting things on the internet like you're doing and I'm doing is very powerful, because when people click on it or have the opportunity to find it, it precipitates change. There's sort of a karmic law, spiritual laws being put in motion, but it's up to us to take the initiative to put the information out there, to make the effort. And that's why I trying to prod people like you do too.
Yeah, and the people that have come into my life as a result of making this decision to create this kind of work is the proof. That's the proof. I know the most amazing people because Kevin and I decided to put some funny videos on the internet, and then the world just opens up. I mean, my life in general blossomed the moment I decided, you know what, I'm marrying these two things. I'm marrying my love of creating, being an artist, being a performer, and my love of truth and my quest for truth and my sort of need to share information with people. Once that happened, that clicked, everything else in my life started to click. Everything else. I mean, I was able to, not have to work anymore, not because of Joy Camp, but because the stars aligned in certain ways. Everything just sort of falling into place. My existence became more glorious, and It's because of that. It's because I made a decision from the heart that was with purpose, and it was in alignment. I should say everything lined up, and the proof, and like I said, proof in the relationships. I mean, these people that are coming to my life, yourself included, are just the best people. And that's, to me, the reflection. It's like, oh, wow, so I am on the right track. Even if MTV, Comedy Central, Independent Film Channel, they pass on our show, I'm still on the right track. I mean, even that itself, that we had that meeting, is like a little ping. It's a little pillar, a little beacon saying, yep, you're going in the right direction. So
that's right. That's right. It's so true. I feel the same as you. Since I, came alive, I've got friends now and acquaintances, and get to know souls and hearts and people such as I never dreamt that are alive. And you know how it is. You meet and you go, oh, it's my brother, it's my sister. Yeah. Bam. There's no question. You're on the same frequency. And as you talk, you realize, holy shit, we see things almost identically, but it's not like it's a mindset. It's a conscious perspective. Mm-hmm. And it's a creative one. It's a changing one. It's a willingness to change. Mm-hmm. Just, the way you brought up flat Earth is brilliantly conscious and aware. And I have the same fascination for all kinds of information, but I don't get stuck on it. But still, you sort of entertain it, but in a good way. It's like entertaining something can have a negative connotation as well as a positive one. But hey, it's information, But
even
like you said,
the stuff, man. What's amazing is that I have some friends who are just in the beginning of their own awakening, and I will casually bring up stuff about the flat Earth, and there's no resistance at all. People are like, wow, oh yeah, that makes sense. I'm like, whoa, this is great. 10 years ago, there was so much more of a fight, but people are really seemingly open to information now, and I love that. I love that people, because I say it like, there's a chance the Earth could be flat, and I expect the response to just be, oh, that's insane, that's crazy. But no, most people are like, oh yeah, I can see it.
Yeah,
love that.
Or at the least, maybe it's not round.
Yeah,
and I'm not sure it's spinning quite like they say. Yeah. And I don't see any tilted buildings over the horizon 25 miles away. They all seem to be standing perpendicular to the buildings here. Do you understand that? That's kind of weird, isn't it? Mm-hmm. But that's beautiful. That kind of response really is a manifestation of this growing, call it the awakening. It's a sort of openness to new information, and how we approach it, I think, is I think what we talked about here tonight is really, I hope it'll be helpful for people, because it's how we approach it, really consciously, lovingly, but of course not kid loving everybody. We've got to tell the truth. But this very interesting phenomena. I think we're going to run into our cutoff here, brother.
Okay.
I can't tell you how much I'm thankful for you, man. You've made my day, and you're going to really inspire a lot of people. You're a beautiful soul, brother.
Thank you. Well,
and I can't wait to see you in Portland. When's the event? It's on
23rd, 24th.
That's right. In Portland. Look under avamerica.org. It's and I hope you come to England too. That'd be a hoot. You got to save up some coin though.
Yeah, I'm open to anything. I mean, luckily I don't have a day job. I don't work 9 to 5. I refuse to get that kind of job. So I'm pretty free, depending. I'm doing a play right now for the first time in 5 years. So that's taking a little bit of my time, but it's a good play and has a good message. That's why I decided to do it. But other than that, I don't have any commitments. So yeah, this is play it by ear. I'm definitely going to be in Portland. I can't wait. Hopefully I can present the piece I was telling you about. It's about 5 minutes long. So it's not like I don't need like a speaking slot, but just a performance. Resonate really deeply with the audience.
I'll give you part of my time if I have to.
Oh, cool. Well, that'd be amazing. But yeah, like I said, I've been doing this sort of live poetry in LA recently, and the difference between that and YouTube is I can see the reaction, immediately, and people really responding well to my words in that way.
That's beautiful. I love that format. Did you ever watch Taylor Molly?
No.
No? Okay, I'll send you a link.
Taylor Molly.
Taylor Molly. He's done deaf poetry events, but he's got some powerful stuff. Some powerful stuff. You'll like it a lot. But I'll send you a link. But that's his name, Taylor Mali, Mali. Okay. He's an ex-teacher. Okay. Look at it. His pivotal piece was one called Teachers Matter, I think. Or what do teachers know? Something. Huh? What do teachers make? That's what it's called. It'll blow your mind. But statement poetry, like challenging, but still entertaining and beautifully artistic.
Yeah, it feels good. I really like doing it. I like performing, and I like engaging with an audience with my words rather than filtering through a character, which is what I was so used to for so long. I like just connecting directly, which is very powerful. Yeah. And anybody who's listening, feel free to friend me on Facebook or send me an email. We're very welcome. We're very welcoming, and
Yeah. Say your links again.
What's that?
Give your links again. How people can find you.
Yeah. thejoycamp.com. So that's www.thejoycamp.com. We have a Twitter account that we don't really use, but you can follow us at The Joy Camp. And we have a Facebook page, which is, I think it might just be Joy Camp on Facebook. And my name is Benny Wills. And after a 7-month hiatus of Facebook, I reactivated my account, so you can friend me on there if you wish. But our email is thatjoycamp@gmail.com. Feel free to email us. And if you want to throw us a dime or two, we accept donations. Everything that we get goes straight towards video production. We don't keep any of it for ourselves. So, and we do everything on a shoestring budget, so anything helps. And that's it. Yeah, share the videos. That's the important part. Share the videos. If you like them, share them, because they are really good at getting people who are not awake to pay attention to bigger issues.
That's right. Please do, everybody. And thanks, Benny. It's been a real pleasure. Always an honor talking with you, brother.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much.
Always learn so much, and you're really an inspiration to me.
I can't wait to meet you in person next month. Or
it's going to be fun.
In April, I should say.
Yeah, whatever. It seems like next month.
Yeah.
Okay, love you, brother. We'll talk soon, huh?
Okay.
And give my love to your folks, and I'm sure everything's going to work out right, okay?
I will. Thank you.
Yeah. Maybe I know him from Woodstock or something.
You might. He didn't go to Woodstock, but he definitely was in Berkeley during all the action.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. I love you, man.
You too. Love you too. All right.
Okay. Talk to you soon. Love to Kevin too.
I'll send it to him. I'll tell him. All right.
Okay. Take care.
Thank you for tuning into CCN. This unique network is dedicated to free and independent media. CCN was created with the belief that information is the common heritage of all beings, which is why our live stream high-definition broadcast is easily accessible and free to view. If we want to change the world, we must first change the media. Having produced over 1,000 shows in 2015, which are all archived on YouTube, we look forward to bringing you more groundbreaking, cutting-edge information in 2016. For more information on what is on, please check out our broadcast guide for weekly updates. CCN broadcasts in multiple languages and features some key voices of our challenging times who are all in pursuit of a free, fair, just, sustainable world. CCN belongs to you, the people, and it is up to you all to keep this network on the air. Please contribute to the Network Support Fund or visit the CCN shop. We thank you all for supporting free and independent media.